So hello and welcome back to Scriptcase by me. And today I want to show you guys the real security, because of course in the previous video I was generating the security on my client's platform, and sometimes the privilege rights just don't work as they should do, and for some reason I'm unable to access the APIs and do some bits and pieces still, even though everything has been enabled for me from what I understand. Now of course I could be wrong and maybe no rights are provided. I don't know. You never know what is happening on the other side of the ocean. And that is the way it is. And with that in mind, of course, I was unable to generate the security in its entirety. And that's what I want to do in today's video. So keep watching and learn how you should be generating your security environment, as well as some extra tips along the way and maybe a choice to improve the security, because there are certain ways that we can improve it by maybe adding a hash to the encryption. And I think that would be a really good thing to do for the environment, for many platforms in general, because security, 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 right? So let's have a think about that. But for now, let's keep watching and, well, generate the security. So as you can see, I have already begun to create a new project. So I will start to create a blank project, and let's call this new sec and menu, which is awesome because we have a new security environment as well as a new menu system. And I just finished recording the other video this morning, well, one of the videos that will be posted on the Scriptcase website for the menu. I hope everyone likes it. I don't know. There's not really much joy in there. And I have a lot of joy with Scriptcase because it is a great environment for you to be developing in. You can create all sorts of platforms and it's quite easy to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and go next for now. And we will then also choose our database. And I'm using a local database, so I can just go ahead and go root, and whoops, it looks like maybe my database is not running. And of course, that is because I'm using my server today and I need to connect. So let me see if I can connect to that with my safe password, and no, with that username and password is not letting me connect. That's no good, is it? And with the correct login details, of course, I can then access and list my databases and then choose the database that I am going to use. So for this one, I will use the SE samples that I have here, and I don't need to fill in anything else because, yeah, it's just not really needed right now. Okay, so I will go ahead and go next, and with that I have already started to create the project. So I can add my languages in here. Now I do speak German as well, so I will add German in here. I think that's good to add in here. And of course I've been learning Portuguese, so let me add Portuguese in here because it's about time. You know, I've been trying to learn it for so long, but I never leave the house. I'm always working and working. Okay, so with that, I'm going to choose one of these themes here, and I really do like this orange one, so I'm going to choose that one and set it as my default, and I'll leave the blueberry and choose also the guave because it's, you know, it's a bit more redder than the sweet corral maybe, and for those green days I'll choose the lemon, and then I'm going to click create. Okay, so now that I have started to, well, I finished creating my project, but I've started really on the whole thing, because now of course I would go ahead and generate any of my applications. I could create a grid application. In fact, let's create one or two applications, but instead of doing it the slow way, let's do it maybe the fast way. Okay, so I will come up here to applications and then batch applications. And with batch applications, I can really quickly just choose some of my tables that I have here available for samples, and I can just go ahead and generate the form as well as the grid for those. So this is ideal if you want to create a whole group of applications really quickly and then organize them all. Or maybe, create multiple applications for one folder that you have. And with that, you have straight away the grid and the form generated and linked together. Okay. Now, in a lot of cases, you are going to go ahead and in a lot of cases, you are just going to go ahead and go new application. But when you start off, use the batch applications. And then when you come into a new section or you want to create new applications, try to use the batch applications to generate those applications much faster. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click next, and with that I can choose then all of the application names. I can enter or change those names. I can enter here also a description for these applications, as well as add a different type. So for instance here, the companies, well, this would maybe be a multiple rows or an editable grid or an editable grid view. And each of these three would, for instance, allow you to add multiple items instead of one company. So in this case, you would more than likely add one company, but countries, if you would add countries, I don't think you would have to, but in that case, you would add then maybe multiple rows. And then we have the country region. Here again, we would add a multiple insert. So let's check out the editable grid. And then we have also our customers. Well, that will just be a single. Employees, also single. And then we have employee state. So let's there choose the editable grid view. And with the other ones, we can leave them as single row. Okay, so now that we've done that, let me go ahead and check the box here to generate the source, because that will then generate the source code for the applications. And then at the same time, if I click to edit, it will go ahead and edit them all. Now, I'm not going to do that, so I will uncheck that box because we're here about security today. So I will just click the finish button. I will generate those applications anyway though, so that when I now generate the security, I can just start up the security with some applications locked, and then also maybe show you how you would customize that to just show content for a specific user. And it's really simple, only in Scriptcase, of course. So once we've finished generating our code here, now as I said, I am running this right now on my server, and it hasn't been running so great for a little while. I will be reinstalling it once I have some spare time for that. But for now, it's performing, so off we go. Okay, so now that I have all of those applications generated, and like I said, I don't care about those right now, so I'm just going to come up here to modules and then security. But wait, before I generate the security, ideally, I want to add a log. So I will click here, create a log within the log modules, or should I say the log modules. Yeah, it is the log module. Okay, so here I will then add maybe the security schema or log system or whatever you may want to call it. And then here we have our connection. We choose our table or our table name that will be added for us. And of course, if it doesn't exist, then we want to create it. And if it does exist, maybe we want to use it. So you need to choose that and know that. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the table. So we can call that sec log, for instance, and we can add a description in here. Choose our database connection, because if you didn't know, Scriptcase supports multiple database connections. So you can connect to multiple databases at the same time, which is pretty awesome, right? Now, we can then specify the table that we are going to use. Now, I don't know if I have the sclog table there, so I will choose to delete it if it does exist, because if it does exist, then, well, it's my samples table. Okay, so I will use the default schema and then use the user login to log the user account for any activity. Now the default values we have down here, I can choose if I want to log the access, insert, update, delete and everything. So in this case, I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the insert, delete and update and only leave the access, because that's all I want to track in this log. Okay, and within the security log, there's really no need to track all and every single event you are doing. You can track those events within another log and try and reduce the log size a little bit. Okay, so with that I will click save. And before I finish up, I hope you noticed there the other options that we had for only the key, or to track or log, should I say, all fields. So there we can either log only the ID of what is being changed, or we can log all of the content. And I prefer all keys, or all values, because in that case everything is of course tracked. And we can apply then the schema here to all of our applications, or choose to apply it to all of them in one go at the top here. Okay, and with that you can also choose to enable that for all possibilities, or all events should I say. And again, we are only choosing access, so in this case I will only log the access. I will then save that, and I can go ahead and close that then. And so with that, our log system has now been added, and we can generate the application for our log application as well, or our log system, and that will then also be created here within a log folder. Or we can change that if we wanted to. We can also change the name of the application, apply a different theme specifically to any application, because when you have multiple themes, you can apply different themes to different applications. Okay, and that is very important, because that really allows us to customize the applications much further. Okay, so then we have the option to use security, and because it is the system log, well, I would think so. And because it is the system log, well, of course, we want to have security enabled. So keep yes checked, and then click the create button. Okay, so just like that, we have not only generated a whole load of applications, but we have also now created a log application, so that our security system, well, it logs everything. Because what is a security system without applications and without any logging? Okay, so I did, as per usual, receive the typical Scriptcase error message. Nothing really to worry about in the majority of times. If after that point you are experiencing issues, then, well, typically then you're experiencing issues. Makes sense, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and create a security module, and I'm going to use the group option. And with that, I can now choose my connection. I can create the new security tables, which of course previously, well, still actually does not work over here. Okay, that is on my local version, and that still doesn't work. So I hope there is a fix for that one soon. So for my table prefix, I can choose what the prefix of the table will be. So this will come before the title of the table name. So if I don't want to call it sec, I can call it app, I can call it platform, I can call it whatever I like. In this case, I just like to keep, typically I like to keep it as sec, because, well, it makes sense. Okay, so let's delete the tables that exist. And now we have also the option to protect logged in users. And with that, you have to make sure that people are logged in and of course logged out. Okay, so I would just go ahead and leave that option, because it works better without really, and at the same time you have one less application really to worry about, because then the security is maybe easier to manage. I like the feature, and I would actually enable it, but today I won't. Now, we also have the option to enable or use social networks for authentication. So just by checking that box, I can log in with Facebook, I can log in with Google, I can log in, well, with pretty much any other social media that is enabled within Scriptcase. Okay, so if I go next, I can then move on to the next step. Now, with that, we have now the new interface for security generation. And this is actually really nice. I really do like the new look of this. Let me zoom in there a little bit, or maybe not, because I'm already zoomed in here. Okay, so we have the option to again set the prefix of not only our tables previously, but now also our applications. So you may want to call them sec, you may want to leave them as app, you may, whatever your choice is, it's down to you. Okay, you then have the option to enable the security. So this will enable the security within applications, or give us the option to enable security within the applications that we add to security. Okay, and that will then be automatically applied for the admin and so forth during the generation. Okay, so we have then below that the cookie expiration time. Now, I personally think 7 days here is plenty. Fair enough. You know, why would you really want more? Maybe you would, but I think 7 days is enough. After that, you know, get the user to recreate that cookie and yes, make sure it's them. Go through those processes. That's what they're there for. You know, security after all. Now, below that we can choose our theme, which has really nothing to do with the security at all, but that then allows us again to customize the theme maybe how we want it as administrators. So for instance, you may give the end user the option to choose the themes, but you as admin, well, I like the Guave all the time, so that's what I'm going to choose. I'll choose Guave, and that way I will have, I think it's green, isn't it? Okay, so there is no menu, so I will choose to create a new menu, and from that we can then also import all of the applications that we have just generated. Now, below that we have the option for a theme, and that is the menu theme. And we right now have the dark cobalt, the coffee, the rhino, the hyperspace. This is a nice new one. The dark night and the light grey. Well, I'm going to go with the dark night. I haven't actually checked out any of these themes yet. I have in the meantime, of course, generated the security a few times. One, to confirm that yes, you know, we're getting to it. And secondly, well, because I had to. Okay, so over to the right here, we have our folder, and here we can then change the name of the folder. Now, that is the folder that we have here within our development or Scriptcase environment. Okay, so that doesn't really matter what we call that. That is really for us as developers or administrators or workers or whatever you're doing within the Scriptcase environment. You're of course building platforms, I would think. Now, below that we have then the remember login option. So we can choose to remember the login, and with that then, when the user logs in, they check that box, and then it will remember their login details so they can log in again the next day, which is again why this cookie expiration time is maybe good around 7 days, because if it remembers them, it will remember them for 7 days on their laptop or desktop or whatever they're using. So maybe in some cases you would want to set that to 1 day. I don't know. That is, of course, entirely down to you, and that is why now you can specify all of these options within the back end. Well, most of them you could do previously as well, but now you can actually do that also within the back end of your security environment, which is just really awesome, right? Don't know? Yes? No? Tell me in the comments. What do you think of this new security? Do you think the interface is cool? Do you like it? Do you like how it allows you to customize all of the features that you have in the menu system? Of course, that's security unrelated, but still, it's within this update, right? Just let me know. I'm curious to know what you think of this update, because I really do love it. It makes a big difference with Scriptcase, a big difference in the platforms I'm developing, and much more. Okay, so below the remember login, you know, we've got to stay on track, you know. Okay, there we have then when the session expires. So we can specify what we want to happen when the user, or when the user session, should I say, expires. So when their session expires, then you can redirect them to the login page. You can display a message, and then redirect them to the login page, or you just don't do anything. Okay, so you can say no action and just let their session expire. Who cares? It's okay if they're logged into the machine and they are using it. Okay, so in this case, I will redirect them to the login page. So if they're doing something and their session expires, they will go back to the login page and have to log in again. Or maybe let's be nice. Let's be nice and display a friendly message before we send them that way. Okay, so below that then we have our log, which we had just created. So there I will choose then the sec log. And below that we have then also the menu orientation. So we can choose that now during generation of our security, how we want our security menu to be. So you could essentially have multiple menus already. In this case, choose vertical and have your security menu open up, or your portal platform administration menu open up in a separate menu, which I think is really cool because that really opens up more possibilities, keeps the top menu a bit nicer and easier, and the whole system becomes more user friendly. But that's my opinion. What do you think? Again, let me know in the comments. I'm really curious because we all develop and prefer different things. Okay, so below that we have then the option to use Suite Alert, and of course you want to use that. We have then our login tab, and now it tells me I already have applications with this prefix. So meaning I have to change here the prefix of my applications. So let me go sec and let me see if I can then change that. Maybe I already have sec, and okay, I don't. Awesome. So I can use sec and then underscore application name. Okay, so then I have the login position that I can set on the application, the login form, the login mode, which is really cool because previously you could only use the username and now you can use the email, which I actually prefer the email. But now having also the option to one or the other, username or email address is actually a really nice feature. Now, this is more than likely where my client did not go on because I probably went over this during the video as well myself. And I would have, of course, noticed as soon as I logged into it, or maybe even generated it. But of course, it was giving me some errors along the way. So Scriptcase now has, I say it now has, that's a good one, isn't it? Because it's had encryption forever. But honestly, I can't remember now if I was not forced to choose the encryption before. Now, I'm not entirely sure, and maybe not. And in some ways, I think in general, it's maybe a very good idea that we can also just generate the security without any encryption. Because as I started saying it at the beginning of the video, there are other alternative encryption methods that we may want to use for our passwords other than MD5 or the SHAs, okay? So with those, you can still use those, and in general I would actually still use the 512, but then maybe I would add some hashing to this. So I'm going to choose the SHA-512, and then in another video we are going to have a look at hashing our password here so that we make the security a tad more secure than it is now. Not saying it's not secure, okay, because SHA-512, I don't know how many years do they say? It's like 1 billion years, no, till you can decrypt that today. But who knows what's around the corner? And at the same time, adding hashes to your password, or salt, should I say, would make a big difference. So we will look at that later on, but for now, let's just continue with the security. It's getting dark already. I can see it's crazy. Okay, so fast in winter. Okay, so here we can view the password characters, and then also we have the option to use capture if we want to. I will leave it as no, but you can use capture or recapture if you want to. So I will leave it as no, but you can set capture or recapture, and then also set a secret key or a site key. And of course, for that, you will have to have that set up elsewhere. So below that, we can configure how strong we want our password. So capital letters, lowercase, numbers, and so forth, which is really cool. And at the same time, we can change and adjust that in the back end. Now we can change the encryption, okay? And there are a lot of options we can change for the password, but those options are, of course, they make sense, because if you could change the encryption, then one day you'd be using SHA-512, the next day you'd be using MD5. Well, then nobody would be able to log in from one day to the next. Okay, so with that, we can then also choose to display the language selection at login, which is a nice new feature. I do like this too, especially as you've seen, we added 3 languages to this platform at the beginning. And with that, those 3 languages for security will also be generated and added to the platform. Now, if I generate the security later on, those languages may not be added to the security. So just be aware of that one, that you may then need to still add the language translations for these new tables that have been added to your database, because of course they are tables, right? They're not, part of Scriptcase. So do be aware of that. Now, at the same time, at the bottom here, we have our fields. So we have here the login field as well as the password field, where we can set the minimum and maximum size. Now 5 is okay. I do prefer 6 or 8 or 12 or 24, but we can't always submit our users to such long passwords. And at the bottom here, we also have the option of using a template for the login screen. Now ideally you want to go ahead and do this. So let me see, do I have a library attached here? I have no library, so I need to first of all copy the samples library. That would be good. And then I will say, well, this is the login interface or whatever. So I'll just call it login_int. And it's stored within the project. Also, I will use that library and then save the project libraries, okay? And then return back here to my security. Now, if I click here the regen, I can then see the forms that are included within the library that I have just added. So I will choose here the login, say 4, and with that we've completed this section. So we can come here to the email settings. Now here I need to add something, so I'm just going to go smtp.sample.com. Add in some junky port in there, it doesn't matter, it's all user@home.com. Okay, and then we can add user@home.com in the SMTP email. Here I'll just add password, it doesn't matter, and the sender name again, user@home.com, because I could change this later on, and well, you don't want to use SMTP anyway. Maybe you want to apply an API or add some custom email. Okay, so let's continue, then go to users. And here I can choose if I want to allow new registration of users on the login page. And of course, when there are new users, if they require activation by email, so then I receive an email and well, I need to activate them before they can log in. Okay, so that is very important. There is also the option to send email to the administrator in the first place. So I would imagine that you would need this third option enabled to receive this, and maybe the first, well, yeah, obviously the activation email. So you're notified as well. Otherwise, how are you going to be knowing that somebody needs to be activating? So ideally, if you have the first 2 enabled, you want to have the third one enabled too. Okay, so with the options for retrieve password, we can reset the password and send a new one by email, or we can just send an email with a link to set a new password. Now this is my preference, because then they will come back to the platform, and then later on with our hashed password, they reset their password and it will be straight away hashed and salted and everything, just made better within the application when we come to it. Okay, so here for the group default, I don't really want to keep the group default because I really hate that. So I'm just going to say registrations, if I can spell it correctly. Okay, so now I'm going to track then so there then I will track then everybody who registers at the login page. Well, I'm going to track the registration as a registration, and they require activation by email as well. And at the same time, we can add some other features in there so that they don't have much power or anything. Access, straight away. You may want to verify whatever processes that you are going to implement when they actually first log in and register and so forth. You may have some onboarding that you will want to apply, and well, with that, maybe registrations is a good way to go. Okay, so we have our authentication 2FA, which is two-factor authentication, meaning we can generate or create an API over at Google or wherever else and add two-factor authentication. Now, I will do this later on, but of course I want to actually try and create this in the back end of Scriptcase after I've not regenerated the security, but after I have added it to my project and then mixed and matched sort of thing. So I'm not generating the security and adding it straight away. I want to see if it works if I add it later. Okay, so we'll come to that in a later video, but for now you can enable that, set your API here, and also choose the operation mode, as well as, well, again, choose an expiration time. Now, expiration times, the shorter they are, the better they are, but in this case, maybe not. Okay, so you may want to leave this a little longer, like 300, maybe 400-500 seconds. So that is, again, your choice. So for insert data, now here we have then the login details. Now those are your login details, so it's important that you set your login name here. Don't leave this as admin. Don't leave it as admin. So my name is Jamie, so I will add my Jamie as my login name, and my password, well, I will say password. Now I hope I remember that because I'm always setting so many different passwords, and yeah. Okay, so the admin name, well, I'll leave that as admin. Okay, and then, well, here for the email, I will add in here my email address. Okay, just like that. So that will ensure that when the email is working, because right now it won't work. The SMTP settings, they're junk, right? So that's important to note. Because I have set junk email settings here, the email system for the back end of Scriptcase will not function, meaning I will not receive admin notifications. But if you add your email settings, you want to be sure that you have a functional email address here. Do be sure to add your administrator email address, because then whenever you have any issues, you receive an email. It's important, okay? As well as being important that when you want to recover your password, you can recover your password, because otherwise you've just built a platform with security and you're going to have to either create some application that will go change your password, change your whatever, but you're going to have other work to do. So just set it right the first time round, and that way it's set. You will never have to worry about it again. Now I will leave here the group as administrator, and then we can come here to add applications. Now I really do like this option because now we have the option not only to generate the security for all applications that we have in Scriptcase, but we also have the option to generate it for selected applications. Okay, so we can choose the applications now that we want to generate it for. So I can choose all of them, or I can, remove it for some of them, whatever I like. Okay, whatever you like. And with that, you secure the applications you need to for your project. Because when you develop your project, you will have some applications here, like blanks and test applications, that will need to be free from security. So do be sure which applications they are, and of course, add them to security if you're not sure. Okay, because that is better you add them to your security just in case. If you're not sure, just include all. You can always change it again in the back end of your platform, but doing it like this would be better than not doing it at all. And an insecure platform, well, isn't a very good platform. Okay, so with that, we have gone through all of the options, and oh my god, this is probably going to be the longest video I have on the channel so far. And well, a lot of new options, a lot of new features, and well, you know, I like them. Like I said, let me know in the comments. So let's go ahead and generate then the security. Now I can save the profile, which I'm not going to do because as you see at the beginning, I have lots of profiles there. I don't want any more. So I will not save the profile. I'll just go OK. Now, if you are working on your project, do save the profile. And that way, when you ever need to generate the security again, you just choose that profile and it will generate with all of those options. You will not have to spend 20-30 minutes clicking all those options, making sure everything is set, choosing those applications. Just click profile, generate, and off you go. Scriptcase makes it super easy for you. Okay, so we can go ahead then and generate our source code. And with that, we can then also check out our new Scriptcase super secure menu, an awesome, beautiful menu, should I say, because I really do like the new menu system. And I'll just go and close that as it was generating. Never mind, we do see here the status on our applications for any applications that were not generated. And of course, because we have just created a whole load of applications over here in root, well, as you see, they're still outdated. They have had security applied to them. So that is why I wanted to make sure that we generate them all. So I will go ahead and generate those again. And look at that. You know, some of those silly issues that you had, you know, years ago, you don't have those no more. Scriptcase really does work so beautifully today. Okay, so with that, we can dive into our security menu. So let me come back here to security, and then I can come here to my login. And if I run that, we can then log in here to our new page. And I called that Jamie and password. We have then here our language selection, which is really nice. Our new user, forget password and remember me. And remember that this is a HTML template. So you can, again, come into this and customize this according to your needs, or even change the template, because there are more templates within Scriptcase for your security login. Okay, so if I go ahead and sign in, I then now have our new menu system, which is really nice. All of the security items are added in here. And the reason why I wanted this as a vertical menu is because, well, I want to really include an extra menu here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, to go new menu. And then here, I'll create a new menu again for, you know, one of the new ones, because they're really nice. You know, let's forget the old tree menu. I know what I said before, but you know, I've been using this a bit more now, and I think, you know, we can actually use this entirely also. The only thing I still need to do is dynamically add all of our menu items, which I think, you know, we can more than likely do at some point. Okay, so if we come in here, and then if I choose to import all of my applications, which, well, I don't really want to do, because I don't want to add my forms in here. I want to add forms later on. I just want the grids, and I do not want any of these security applications that were generated, because these are all inside of the security menu that I have created there. And just like that, now I have two separate menus. In fact, here the app grid log, we don't want that one either. And now we have here our companies. We have here our country grid, as well as some of our other grids here that we can then check out within our application. So just like that, I have not only generated the security, but I have then also gone ahead and added some nice, you know, an extra menu, some nice new views, or some nice new applications in here. And that was pretty quick, really, on the, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Okay, so with that, I have here now a new menu, and this is what I actually want to use as my main menu up here. And I want to tie that now with my admin menu. So let me add one more item in here. And I'm going to move that all the way to the bottom here, and I will call that admin, and that will then come here to my other menu, which was then here in security, and that was here the sec menu. So I'll just take that, place that there, save that. Okay, and I need to make adjustments now to my sec menu because, sorry, not the sec login, but the sec menu. So I need to adjust this one here because with this new layout, we have the option here for the toolbar. So I'm going to uncheck that one, leave the theme. For the toolbar items, I will disable all of these because I don't need these anymore. And then for the user menu, I will actually remove the user menu from here and save that. And now here in menu, well, I want to generate this one now so that when I now come here to my menu and open the menu, I now also have then the admin menu in here. And of course, the admin menu that we just had there, well, that has security enabled. So that is not enabled for me right now. So I need to actually log in to, for me to be able to use that or see that in the first place. It's grayed out. So in this case, being grayed out, it means it's not available, but it kind of is. You don't maybe want it displayed. So in that case, you could use a macro and delete it. So anyway, let's go ahead and log in again and check out our new menu system here. So if I log in again here, Jamie and password, and then sign in. And then here I have now the security menu, okay, which I now need to change the direction of that. So it's good to have the sec login open. So if I come into sec login on validate success, we're using here the SC validate success PHP method, which is down the bottom here. So here, if I access this one, scroll all the way down, I have here the SC redirect menu. So if I just copy that, and I'll just comment that one out because it's always good to keep the previous code there. And in this one, we now direct users to the menu. Okay, so just like that, we can then switch things up a little bit. So if I now run the security, I'm going to log in again and sign in. Now we have here our full menu plus our admin menu in here. Now you may not want to have tabs enabled. In this case, typically I would remove the tabs because of course companies, well, that would then open maybe a company's menu and you have all of your items organized for companies in that one. So you'd have separate menus for different items. So it really depends on how big your platform is. So if you have a large platform, that is more than likely a really good way to go. Okay, so with that, we have now my user information up here, or maybe I don't have, because again, this menu is not the menu generated for our security. So we need to come here to our layout, and I can add a logo in here. So let me come here to say public. I should have a load of menus in here, loads of images. I have something here I can use for a logo for sure. Just go with icons. And there goes the image manager. Of course, I have a ton of images in it. Okay, so I'm going to just choose this guy here, the punkish web. I like that. So add him. Okay, add selected. Okay, so that's in there now. I don't know how that's going to go with the brackets there, and we'll see. So I will add that as my compact logo. Also, here for the toolbar items, we have all these enabled. So here for the menu items, what I can actually do is I can set any of these here as a toolbar item, as a shortcut. And so here, if I come here to admin, well, I can set that as a toolbar shortcut, but there's really no point in that one. Well, of course, that would be more ideal when you have all of your menu items in here. So I hope there is an option later that allows us then to actually add the menu items into this other menu and flip that around, because that's something I'm not really seeing right now. So maybe even this is not really the best way to go for the menu system. That's something we're going to have to figure out, isn't it? Anyway, okay, so let's continue anyway. So at least we have this working. Our security login is there, and we have here all of our new applications. We have the user applications, or users, should I say. We have then here also our users, our groups, okay, our group users. So all of the applications that we had previously, we have them again here. We can synchronize our applications. So whenever we add new applications to our project online, we just synchronize them here, clicking this OK button, or whatever your developers called it, because I really like to change that from OK. Some of these defaults are really not very nice or pretty ugly, I think, so I like to change them, but of course you can do that. So you have here also authentication, and it says here two-factor authentication is disabled, so we need to enable that first of all, and that is of course here available within the settings. So here within the settings, we can change the action for exploration. So whatever we want to do, again, change the redirection for them, give them a friendly message or not. Options are yours, and all of those options are again here now within the back end of Scriptcase. So you can change here the password strength of it and everything, but of course you cannot change the encryption because that would be a pretty silly thing to do here in the back end. Okay, so we have then our new users. So here we can define or give the option on our login page for new users. And does it require activation? Do they require activation? Do you want to send an email to the administrator? Well, those are the options that we have here, as well as, again, we can choose the group for the default group, should I say, of users, which is nice. So anytime you can go ahead and change the users that you have log in from registrations to maybe a different group. Now, I think that's really cool because that really opens up a lot of different options. Okay, so for our email, we can configure the entire email here as well. So right now we have it as customized. And as I was saying before, I want to actually upload or synchronize to this project later on. So I'm going to leave this as it is for now, because we see it's pretty awesome already with all of these new features, the new capabilities, the new options in the menu and everything. And of course, well, they're pretty cool. They are. They're, you know, I like them. Now, if you didn't know, here with the menu, now we can search all of the menu items. And if I had added a description into the menu items, then the description would also be displayed here, which is quite nice. And also within some of the other menu options. Now, by choosing companies, that would then, for instance, open the company's application and essentially allow me to provide or perform a search. Okay, so that is one of the other new features that we have here with, or should I say that we have here, we do have here, because I develop in this. You know, I'm not going to be creating videos for Scriptcase forever. You know, who knows what's around the corner. And this is now, and tomorrow is another day. So for now, well, these are the awesome features we have available in Scriptcase because we all need them. And of course, some of them are not there yet. Some of them will be added, you know, pretty soon, hopefully. And when they're not, we can just ask for them. If there's anything you feel that is missing, you just go to their website. You just go to the scriptcase.net website and you say, "Oi guys, you know, hey, hello, whatever you want to say," and let them know. Be nice, of course, because you gotta be polite. You know, you should be rude and nasty to people. So with that, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and of course, you know, enjoy the update to the security features in Scriptcase because I think they're awesome. I am going to rework this, and I'm looking forward to the future updates that come into this new menu system, as well as, well, maybe the security as well, because I don't know if anything else can be added here other than alternative authentication methods. For instance, today already I was working on a Keycloak server again, which is interesting. And of course, features like that could always be added into Scriptcase, so we can just go ahead and choose it and off we go. It's generated and we're done. But you know, we can't have everything, but maybe sometime in the future. Okay, so that is it for this episode. I hope it's not too long for you because it has been a long one actually, isn't it? Okay, so enjoy, and until the next video.